Hey guys, so a lot of the scuttlebutt online, and I'm allowed to say scuttlebutt because I'm wearing my British Navy hat here, has been that, well, Mattel has been a bit of a chicken, not talking to fans, not having a panel at PowerCon, and I know I kind of added to this, throwing dust in the air with a video where I was like, well, where the heck was Mattel? But it was really, that video was about the unlicensed toys. But the whole, Chicken George concept that's plaguing Mattel, there's actually, logic to this. And, well, that's kind of my thoughts because, well, recently Mattel's put out a Barbie movie and Will Ferrell played a Mattel executive and honestly kind of nailed it in the way they are a little standoffish. I mean, even shooting it at the Mattel headquarters sort of solidified it. Now, the idea that Mattel may not always want to talk to fans, and this goes for Hasbro too, this is all toy companies, well, there are a lot of times it's a lot better to not talk to fans than there are. Now, you could say that the company has bigger things that they're focused on this summer, but as far as delivering news to fans, sometimes no news is good news because you don't want to attract fans to bad news. In other words, it's better to almost say nothing than to say something that could lead to bad news. Eventually, obviously, bad news like a line being canceled does formulate. Now, as far as He-Man and Masters of the Universe is concerned, and Mattel not, speaking out on this, it may have to do with the fact that it's 2023 and the rights reverted to Universal. I did a whole video about this. I'll link it at the end. And believe me, it's confusing, but the bottom line is, when we were doing classics at Mattel, we paid a royalty to Classic Media. Classic Media is now owned by Universal, so royalties are now paid to Universal. Now, how do I know about all of this? I was part of a, call it, elite strike force of individuals that were chosen to try to get the rights back for Masters of the Universe to Mattel. And when we contacted Universal and asked them if they'd be willing to sell the rights back, we basically got a very polite, Universal's policy is to not ever sell IP, which is a darn shame because I have a great idea for a sneakers sequel, maybe a cartoon show. All right, so what does this have to do with the rights for the Masters of the Universe brand and why Mattel may not be jumping to connect with fans right now? Well, the contract was really dense, the original sell-off contract, and it basically... The IP owner, which was Entertainment Rights, then Hallmark, then Classic Media, then Universal. The rights of basically they went in stages, and it's very possible that Universal may not even be aware that they own Masters of the Universe. The contract was really weird, but there also might be a buyback agreement where Mattel has purchased it back from Universal. I'm no longer at Mattel, but either way, that may be motivating keeping silent. Now, fans are also comparing the current silence to the way I was, very vocal when I was a brand manager, constantly talking to fans and revealing stuff and, having fan panels at conventions and blah, blah, blah. We even were able to, reveal things like Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull. Now, the new team that took over when I left was the reason that they didn't have as much freedom to talk to fans the way I did is because I was actually grandfathered into Mattel's PR policy. By that I mean when I came on to being the marketing manager for what became Matty Collector, I created social media pages to promote it. In fact, I was the very first person at Mattel to ever make a Facebook page. So I was already interacting with fans online through social media before Mattel as a company had a policy to govern this, which is why I was allowed to talk to fans in ways that the new team that took over after I left wasn't. They had to basically go by Mattel's guidelines. So Mattel isn't really being a chicken, it's that they're following their guidelines. I gave a very bad impression of my time at Mattel of that, or rather the idea that a brand manager could talk to fans as freely as I did. That's not the normal way. The only reason I was allowed to do that is because I was grandfathered in. Otherwise, Mattel doesn't really want to stir the pot because it could bring up, to Universal the fact that Universal owns the brand if they look at the contract. So, I don't know if that's what it is, but with fans saying they want more information, it just sometimes isn't worth it in a company's best interest, honestly, because if it's only bad news, just let it go and let fans, kind of the line peter out. It happens a lot. All right, I hope this might have clarified some questions about why companies don't want to release information to fans and why it's not being chicken, it's just being a good corporate citizen. I hope this video was interesting, and if you liked it, please do share it with others. It's the best way to support this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.